Okay, so thanks for joining us tonight for the Start Archery Week feedback night. The recording is running so that those that can't make it tonight can access it later. We'll just introduce ourselves. So I'm Helen, the Midlands Development Officer, and I'll pass on to either Toby or Yvonne.
Yeah, Toby Andrews, Southern Counties Regional Development Officer.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Yvonne. I'm the Regional Officer for the Northern Counties.
Okay. So, yeah, thank you for joining tonight. We're going to run through a presentation between us, and then we're also going to have lots of time so that we can actually chat between ourselves about what we think about next year. You know, what worked this year, how do we build that into improving the event even further for next year, and we're going to take a look at dates as well. So I'm just going to share my screen. So you may spot photos from your events during the night, so keep an eye out for those, or you might not. It's a bit random. Let's see if that will go full screen for us. Thinking about it. Yes, okay. Great. Okay, so yeah, obviously it was great to get the feedback that we did get afterwards from the Start Archery Week from this year. What the purpose of tonight is to try and kind of track through a little bit of the history of where we've got to, how this year went, and to build that into looking to next year. So initially then, where did this all begin? So the big weekend started, was developed in 2012 around the London Games, and obviously that was an August event that year, but it very quickly moved from August to May, and that was in response to feedback from the clubs that were taking part at that time that they wanted to be able to have an early summer event so that they had time to train any beginners that came through, and that if those beginners choose to join the club, then they also join at the summer rates, which obviously breaks the cost down for them before they need to make their mind up about whether they join for a whole membership year, because if you're in an Archery GB club, the membership year starts on the 1st of October. I appreciate, John, that won't apply for yourself. Obviously, the whole world had to cancel their summer events in 2020 because of COVID. And even in 2021, have a go events weren't possible until July. So everything was pushed back to July. And again, in response to clubs having a little bit greater need for flexibility around dates, we introduced the big week in 2021, and the big weekend ran back to back so that clubs had greater flexibility as to when to choose to run their events. So before we ran this year, we had a little look at the numbers, and we tried to track the trends. The trends are really dependent on getting very good feedback from the organisers, but that is the kind of picture that we had before we ran this year, of increasing numbers of participants, but gradual and obviously affected by COVID a little bit. But we were seeing a greater sign-up rate coming through, which was a positive sign. So as we looked forward to 2022, we knew that it was going to be a very special year, as we turned 10 years old this year. And to mark that 10th year anniversary, some things were done a little differently. So back in summer 2021, the new Start Archery support had been launched. That brought in a whole lot of new interest. So a whole separate website, totally dedicated to someone looking to get into archery rather than an existing archer. So you've got support for new archers, e-zines that go out to new archers to try and help them into the sport, information about what to expect, all the different types of archery, and the kind of questions beginners might ask. A club finder map, if I get my teeth in, but also an experience finder map, and that's populated because all Archery GB clubs are asked to register all their beginner activities. So there was a lot of support there through the Start Archery support package, if you like. And as we looked forward to this 2022 Start Archery Week, obviously those names tied in together, we wanted to have a rebrand, a new logo, a fresher logo, because it was now 10 years old, that reflected the Start Archery support package, and to help clubs in their journey in rebuilding their membership, which you're all well into by this summer. So we launched the new logo. For this year only, it's had a kind of party theme because of the 10-year anniversary birthday party theme, but that logo will remain for next year without party kind of tweaks to it. And we also added in 10 competitions so that we could give out multiple prizes this year and celebrate 10 years of events. A few more changes. Now there is a team of development officers like Toby and Yvonne and myself and others in place so that every area of the UK is covered, which we're hoping has meant that we can give greater support to organisers and get out to more events as well as a team. And we can connect you, the local organisers, together on webinars like this, perhaps, or perhaps in counties. The Start Archery merchandise also opened earlier this year, so that's opened all year round, and all organisers this year that had registered their events by late April, at the point at which you needed, the last point to make orders, you were all issued with a discount code to be able to access £50 worth of goods, or likewise the equivalent of £50 worth from the online portal. And the idea of that was, rather than getting the same bundle of giveaway items from us that you've had in the past, you've got greater flexibility around what items you ordered to suit your needs. And we'll come on to some feedback about that later. Also this year, more schools were invited to take part, because Youth Sport Trust got the word out nice and early. So we definitely saw an increase in schools taking part this year, which is fantastic. So moving on to the feedback from yourselves, if you've given us feedback. So the first thing to say is thank you very much for sending in your feedback spreadsheets. If you're able to do that, it makes such a huge impact if you're able to do that. So we know that 96 clubs and organisations that may not be clubs, just groups in general, took part this year, which is fantastic. They ran 142 events. A few had to drop out last minute, but 142 is still the highest number we've had, and a really good number. We around support for organisers, so we offered support around registrations to try and make that as easy as possible, and we offered competitions to try and incentivise people getting registered as well. That feedback is so crucial to us. It helps us to analyse and evaluate, helps us to continue to improve the event. You'll see a little bit later how important it is. And we have had this year a really high feedback rate, but it wasn't 100%. Actually, we didn't get everybody, not quite everybody remembered all of the feedback we asked for as well. So just wanted to make that point again for next year. The most important thing that you can remember is feedback is so important. So really next year, we're going to emphasise to take part in the Start Archery Week means to register people and to feedback afterwards. It's just really vital for us to continue with the event. So we will be building that in to the event. But I know many of you did offer that, or in fact, probably just thinking, I think everybody here offered feedback. So thank you to those of you who did that. So what did you say when we collated the results? Basically, we were able to work out the estimated total attendance, which is fantastic. We've got over 8,000, so 8,866 people is the estimated total attendance, and that works out to be around about 62 people per event, which is great. It did result, for those of you who are clubs, it did result in people also signing up to beginners courses, and we appreciate this is an estimate because they might have signed up, but on the day that course won't have begun, so you don't know if they're actually going to come. But it's a really good indicator, and again, higher numbers than ever before. 1,309 people signed up to a beginner's course, which works out to be an average of 14 per club or organisation. And not that it's a competition, but just great feedback for you if you're in that list, just to know you're in that sort of top 10 of attendances. So very well done if your event is up there. Those clubs alone had a total of 2,612 people, which actually represented just those 10 clubs or organisations represents 29% of all of the attendance on the Start Archery week. So very well done to those events. It's not about how many you can get in the door, though. We know it's also, the quality of the experience that people have when they come. And we had a mixture of different events, so different capacities at different types of events. So we've got a mixture. Most events were your kind of traditional open day, drop in and have a go. Some people, the orange sector, were pre-booked events. And increasingly, what we were encouraging people to do was run a mixture of those two approaches. So the grey is a mixture of both. And then there's a kind of yellowy section that were more closed events because there was a specific reason for that. So John, maybe your event, a school event, others similar. So organisers fed back when they used the resources that Archery GB provided. So a lot of people use the logo, a lot of people still use the posters, possibly they use those in an online capacity or they printed them. The social media images were still fairly popular. 20% of people came along to the planning webinar, the really early one in January, and then 17% came to the organisers meeting in April. And then a much lower number with the pre-event press release. So maybe that's something that we could remind people that is there for you, if that's helpful for you. And just a few people said they didn't use any of the resources. We asked people about charging as well. We've noticed that more events are beginning to charge. So we wanted to kind of check on what the makeup was. We still have more events that are free, but it is getting close to 50-50 now, as you can see. And our encouragement again is to make it free if you can. And if you need to charge, keep that charge as low as possible so that it only covers your overheads. So for this one event in the year, or a couple of events if you're running more than one in the week, it's not a fundraiser opportunity. It is about trying to raise awareness of the sport, bring people together, and we encourage you to run your fundraisers at other times in the year. So we also asked people, how did people hear about the event? And there's the breakdown. So as you can see, overwhelmingly, online promotion is the way to go. But there was a mixture of different promotional methods used, which shows that, to reach out to the whole of the community, a mixture of methods is helpful. So we asked organisers, how did they find the new merchandise portal? It was fair to say that some people were quite confused, and also we would have liked to have got the information out earlier to you all about the portal, but it wasn't ready. So we were waiting for it to open to be able to do that. Now that it's open and staying open, we're hoping that everyone will be a lot more familiar with it by next year. So it's open all year round. If you're issued with a discount code, the idea was that the only thing that you'd have to pay was the delivery charge. But we know that on the first couple of days that it was open, there was some tweaks needed in order for that to happen. So apologies if you found that it was difficult for you to order on those first couple of days. After that, things went okay. And as you can see, most people were reasonably pleased with the merchandise portal offer, as shown by the pie chart. We also heard strongly some suggestions of other items that we could add, and we really thank you for those. And we will be feeding that back and see if we can get some more items added into there. So we had hoped to see a real increase in the information, that snapshot I showed you earlier, and here's the results when you compare them with the previous years. As you can see, a really big impact this year and an increase across the board. So big well done to you all. It's you, the organisers and the volunteers that have made that happen. We do appreciate the time that you've put in. As you can see, we've kind of tried to gather a little bit more information each year to try and really evaluate the impact. So that is really very helpful, and we will continue to keep tracking the trends. As if it's easier to see on a graph, obviously it's very difficult to see the blue line because that's really low when you compared with all the thousands of people that attend. And obviously that huge dip in 2020 was the COVID year. But if we take 2020 out, you see all of those lines have increased. Competition and the winners. So we launched these 10 competitions this year to celebrate the 10 years. And we wanted to be able to reach different people and in different ways with the competitions. So tonight is the night, if you don't yet know, that you may find out that you've won something. So well done for being here. You're going to be the first ones to hear it. And if you have won, congratulations, and we will be in touch with you as soon as we can after tonight. So first of all, we ran 5 competitions that were related to the preparation, really, before the events ran. So first of all, a club or organisation was pulled out of the hat if you're registered before the 10th of April, and Deben Archery Club near Ipswich won a coaching session with Lloyd Brown, who's the coach developing officer manager from Archery GB. So congratulations to them. And then we invited groups to send us information of projects they were running in their community or new groups they'd connected with since the beginning of the year, so since January. And congratulations to Colin Bowman in Wales, who won a pack of 50 beginner handbooks for their work with various different groups in the community that they told us about. We also invited people that were using the Easy fundraising partnership that Archery GB has to let us know how they were raising money or using the money raised through that connection with Easy fundraising. And any community group that's not for profit can reach out to Easy fundraising. There's a really simple way to raise free donations towards your overheads. You can use it on whatever you like. They will pay out on a regular basis once you earn over kind of a £15, I think it is. So we also have Colin Bowman winning this prize as well. So Colin Bowman told us about how they raised extra donations by contacting people in their community, companies, connecting up with them and offering them a free have a go. And they have spent the money getting equipment to use in an education centre for kids with behavioural problems. So congratulations to them. We also ran a competition for non-Archery GB clubs that were entering Start Archery Week events, and we pulled 10 names out the hat who each won a wheelie bin arrows kit. So congratulations to those 10 activities and organisations on screen. We tried to get those packs out in person and present them to you. So that was really great to be able to visit a different type of event, and we really appreciated that. Congratulations to all 10. So we also said that the most creative example of promotion would win the next Club Spotlight feature, which is a regular feature in our quarterly magazine called Archery UK. And big congratulations to Phoenix Bowman, located near Halifax, who we saw several really good examples of online promotion, and they maximised their coverage through using, I should say blogs, apologies for that, I think the G's been cut off, but they were really active on Twitter and lots of people coming through their events through their online promotion. So looking forward to reading the Club Spotlight feature for the next edition. Then we ran 5 other competitions that were connected to the events or that were run on the day of the event. So they'll come up now. So next was organisers that fed back to us afterwards. So we asked you to fill out a spreadsheet after you'd registered everyone, to send in any photos you're happy to share with us, and to let us know how you found the experience of being involved. And Braintree Bowman in Essex have won a pack of 50 target faces donated by the archery shop. So congratulations to them. And they were pulled out of the hat of everyone that fed back to us. I meant to take those question marks out, but all the participants that were happy to register at the events were entered into another prize draw to win tickets to Bear Grylls Adventure, which is in Birmingham. And a couple from the Chester area, Karen and Kevin Rogers, have won that prize and are really thrilled with the idea of going for some more archery at Bear Grylls. So congratulations to them and to City of Chester Archers, who registered their participants and have won their visitors at that prize. And then the best archery themed cake photographed at an event was going to win a giant cake from us. And congratulations to Royal Leamington Spa Archery Society, who made the effort of making a homemade cake, which you can see there in an archery theme, which we thought was fab. So congratulations to them. I will be bringing you a cake. There was a photography and video competition. The best photos or video in each of the 3 categories coming up now will each have a paid Facebook ad campaign run by Archery GB in partnership with you later this year or at a convenient point when you want that. So we have the first category was Teamwork Makes the Dream Work, and we felt that there were fab entries for all of these categories, but the overall winner was from Southgate Archery, which is near Swansea, and that is their picture there, and a highly commended picture from Deben Archery Club in Ipswich. So congratulations to you both. Southgate were the winners. Secondly, the category was For the Love of Archery, and the winner was from Kirby Muxlow Archery Club, which are located in Leicestershire, but a highly commended entry from South Leeds Archers as well. So that's the winner from Kirby Muxlow and the 2 highly commendeds. And finally, we got some really good videos in, and we were particularly looking for a little bit of creativity around the video. And big congratulations to Grimsby Archers. They are going to be the winner for the video category, and highly commended to First Banwell Scouts. So congratulations to you guys too. We really appreciated the time and effort that you put into making videos. Dale, do you want to tell us a bit about your video?
I can do. Basically, our idea was that we'd have a time lapse of the entire day of us setting up, everyone shooting, us packing away. So we tried to show the entire day, and we was very fortunate enough to have a club member who basically for Christmas he just got himself a new little drone. So we used him to take some aerial shots of the layout and videos of people shooting, and just tried to mix it together with just some royalty-free calming music.
Yeah. And that thought process was really appreciated. So congrats there. Yeah. Particularly liked them as well, for yourselves, John, where you've overlaid the logo into your photos and I think in your video as well. So that was appreciated as well. So well done to both of you, and you're both here. So that's fab. And lastly, competition 10 was around volunteers who had done over 10,000 steps on the day of their event or at their event. And we actually got, I think, 7 entries for this, with lots of people with lots of steps. But the one pulled out the hat was Nicola McCulloch from Norton Archers, with 11,423 steps, to be precise. So congratulations to them. They're going to win a metal detector from the archery shop. So next of all, we analysed the impact online and through the media. So we know that the best relationships in terms of the impact of your events are going to be through you and the other members of your group, the other volunteers, the other people in your group. And that might be through sharing editable poster online, or your own your own editable posters or logos that you create. The press release is a really key one to get the press or the media, local media involved. To create an event on certain platforms on social media, that's a really good way of sharing your event, so people can put whether they're coming or thinking about it. And any other contacts you've got with local communities, whether that's through schools or community groups or what's on pages, they're going to be your highest impact. But we also want to add our support. So as Archery GB, we try and back you up as well. So we can use the Start Archery website as one of our main platforms to do that. So we created the Start Archery Week page, which had the event finder map built into it. And that also appeared on our drop-down menu on the Start Archery website. But there was also a ticker across the top permanently so that people could click onto that to get to Start Archery Week in the week running up to it and during the week. We ran a news story, which was the feature news story before and during the week. And we saw a massive increase on the number of people interacting with that site at the time. So 45% increase in users and a huge spike on the 9th of May. On average, it was around about 676. As you can see there, we had 1,500 users in just one day. So that was a really significant day, and we think possibly would be down to the impact of White Tiger. So we have a PR agency called White Tiger that we have asked to help us with the Start Archery Week. So they've been busy behind the scenes and particularly focusing on the 10 focus events that were chosen this year. So the Find a Club page, the Start Archery Week page, and Find an Experience pages all saw large increases in traffic online during May, which you'd expect. Page views increased by 29%, and engagement increased by 20%, and massively the newsletter sign up rose by 75%. So a really massive impact online, and really good for you to know that, because that's a national impact that perhaps you wouldn't be aware of at club level, but it is going on behind the scenes because you're signing up and running events. So thank you for helping us reach that number of people. And the breakdown there of the different pages and the different counters there, just to show you how that's broken down. We also sent out e-zines, so that's your kind of bulk email communications going out. On the 9th of May, for example, an e-zine was sent to subscribers that we have got through the Start Archery website to tell them about Start Archery Week and invite them to events. And it was great to get out. For me personally, when I went out to events, I met people that had received that e-zine, had been invited along, and it had a really great open rate and a high number of clicks. So people really interested. We sent another one to those that attended the Big Week or Big Weekend last year to invite them again this year. They may not have done archery since, so it was good to see some of them come back. We sent another e-zine to our range returners. So that's a campaign we run last summer and we're going to run this summer to invite people back into archery who have given up the sport for a while, but they did actually learn to shoot. And so they wouldn't need to do a full beginner's course. And we're hoping that that allows you to get new members in without your time as volunteers having to run a beginner's course. And finally, after the Start Archery Week, we sent another e-zine out to, if you registered people, to everyone that gave us their details and were happy to be sent e-zines, and we were able to ask them for their feedback for the first time this year. We haven't done that before, and that again is down to you registering people, so thank you for doing that. The open rates were really high, higher than industry average, and with a high number of clicks. So really, that is all down to you for registering people. We can't do it without your help, so thank you for doing that. We're still analysing social media impact, and we'll make sure that if you want to know about that, we can let you know later at a later date when we've got those reports. So I mentioned White Tiger earlier on, and just to give you an idea, on screen is a list of the press coverage they were able to achieve, and they can also work out the circulation rate for each of those items of press coverage, which down at the bottom there, you see the total circulation of people that those items were able to reach is huge. So we're able to get this to really raise the profile of the sport when more and more people get involved in the Start Archery Week, and we're able to highlight the good work that you're doing. And White Tiger also were able to work on 3 pieces of national press release and 25 media liaisons as well around about the time of the Start Archery Week. So they were busy in the background. You've heard my voice a lot now. I'm going to take a break and hand over to Toby.
Thanks, Helen. Yeah, so we sent out a survey to the people that attended the events, for those that wanted to be contacted, and we had 82 responses, which catered for 179 people at those events. So just a bit of a breakdown. The average group size was 3 people. Male almost 60%, females 41%, and the age groups there is quite interesting because it's probably similar to what our current membership represents as well. And so I thought I'd just put that in as well. Thank you. So what specifically did the attendees like about the events? And these are arranged in sort of the most common themes, 1 to 6. So again, most people enjoyed their events. They enjoy shooting and having tuition. The fun and social atmosphere of archery clubs and the events as well. They like to have a go, try a new sport out, and simply finding out information. As we always hear, there's people always say, "Oh, I didn't know there was an archery club down the road," so it's good to go and find out that we are around. The cost for those events that were free, people actually like that. And finally, just being outdoors and doing an activity with their family. So the next 2 slides are just things that could potentially be improved upon by us or yourselves as clubs. So people said they'd like to do more of the activity. I went to a couple of events, and some people were doing sort of 5 minutes, and then I went to another activity and they almost had 45 minutes. So it's quite a dramatic sort of change. Greater organisation. So potentially those waiting times probably impacted people's activity times, so perhaps greater organisation around how many people may or may not turn up. Better signage to get to your events from the car park or from the road, and following that, better car parking facilities, and maybe just sort of preempting how many people may turn up on the day. A couple of events I believe were indoors, so that's probably why that's appeared. Some people would have preferred to have shot their events outside. One person did write that they would like to have had a slight warm-up before their event, going straight into the activity. Obviously that they prefer to be a bit warmed up. And finally, quite an important one, they didn't have any take-home material, so they didn't know how to follow up on their activity. How did they get involved with the club or their nearest other archery club or the next beginners course? That was sort of left off. And yeah, this one was, again, is probably a bit that we could help out with. So follow-up course information, similar to the last comment. How do those people get into local clubs, archery, where the next beginners course may be. A lot of people asked for local shop information, which probably isn't a wise idea. As everybody says, it's, you know, it's best to have a go with the beginners course first to get an idea of what equipment they may need, what size and weight, etc. What is involved with being a club member. A lot of people want to know, you know, what is the commitment, how much time do they need to give to the sport. And that, just simple information like that may result in more members on the day or joining the beginners course. More open days, so perhaps holding more have-a-goes throughout the year. Having more beginners course spaces immediately after the have-a-goes, which is quite a common one. A lot of people were saying that there wasn't a beginners course for perhaps the next 6 months, so, you know, that potentially an archer lost to another club. And yeah, another sort of bad one, that people emailed the club back, but they never heard any follow-up information. So there's another potential person lost there.
So I get excited then, it's me. Excellent. So we had a mystery shopper go out and about. So this isn't just an individual. We had 3 mystery shoppers who went to 3 sites. We can't divulge who that is, but they went to 3 different sites. They can, when it's a mystery shopper, they can be either an individual or can be a family, and their job is to research in advance, give some feedback about that, what happened during, and then give some feedback about what they found out afterwards as well. That makes sense. So that's the mystery shopper job. It's something that we access through Sport England. So various sports access this service on a regular basis. So Helen, if you could pull up the results, please. Fabulous. So our mystery shoppers pre-visit, our scores around 74%. Now, when I come to the feedback as to why in a minute, it was the information that we're trying to find in advance. So they were going on our website, but then we're also looking on clubs' websites and trying to find information about times, costs, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know, whether they need to have equipment, you know, bits and pieces that as somebody who's never tried archery before, they may not know. So they were trying to find those bits and pieces out. From an experience perspective there, you can see we've got a massive 92%, which is absolutely phenomenal. So all of them really enjoyed the experience on the day, which you would hope they would do anyway, because it is an amazing experience when you get one-to-one coaching. You're given something that you desperately want to try for the first time. It's you know what it's about, isn't it, when you're trying a sport for the first time? So that's what these guys are doing. Post-visit experience was 84%, and that's when we're talking about what literature they received as they were leaving and what the follow-up was like afterwards. So it was 84, which is still good, but you know, it's thinking about the follow-up with them afterwards. It's those emails, it's the contact to see if they wanted to, you know, did they enjoy the experience, if they got any feedback from an individual perspective to the club. So overall, we smashed 85%, which, as you can see, is really, really, really good. There isn't a lot of negative in what they had. I mean, if you could flick onto the next slide, Helen, that would be amazing. The feedback that we did get, some had a really lovely welcome and others were just left to stand in a queue. So when they rocked up at the site, they weren't welcomed, they weren't, you know, told where to go or what was going to happen. They just basically joined a queue and then were just left, and then eventually got to the front and had a go. All of them fed back about the coaching and the supervision, that it was absolutely fantastic. But one introduction, which I thought I would raise on there, was that the coach didn't introduce themselves. So they were just suddenly in front of somebody who was telling them what they needed to do. And there was, you know, no, hi, how are you? My name's, yeah, that for that individual who went on to that experience, it kind of made them feel a little bit like, I don't know who you are. So it was just trying to build that relationship and thinking of that moving forward. Everybody that fed back from the mystery shopper agreed that it was delivered safe and professionally, which is what we would expect anyway, to be fair. But as Toby's already mentioned, and also what Helen mentioned in the graph, was the pre-launch of Start Archery Week, was that information in advance of the event. There was a lot of requests for that from these 3 mystery shoppers that went out, and then we've obviously got that from those people that attended the events as well. So maybe that's something as clubs, you know, we can support you with. I don't know if that's something that you would like support with, or whether that's something, you know, to take away and feedback to your club committees, that in advance it's that kind of basic information that's the individuals who've never tried the sport before are looking for, and being mindful of that. So times, cost if there is one, what they need to wear, what they need to do, you know, hair back, all that kind of stuff, because the mystery shoppers weren't aware of, you know, some of those stipulations, as an example. And one thing that one of them really loved was the amount of freebies they got. So, you know, the merchandise obviously went down a treat with the certificates and the various wristbands and other bits and pieces. So from a mystery shop perspective, we are up there. We've had a really, really good response, but it's just those little things that we thought we'd highlight from the feedback that they've given us as well. Okay, back to you, Helen.
Thanks, Toby and Yvonne. So we're going to split now into a point where we can hear from your voices rather than just our own tonight. So there aren't as many of us as we'd hoped, but we're still going to split into a couple of different breakout rooms, because then it gives more chance for you to feedback and hear from each other. So just going to pop you in rooms. Bear with me as I do that. We'll just randomly generate the rooms.
We laugh about this because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So if you get lost, please come back.
If you get lost, yeah, we're going to have half of you go into a room and the other half of you stay where you are, effectively be a second room. And if you get lost, you'll come back into that second room. So just rejoin if you get lost. Okay, this will be random, so might see you in a minute. That moment of anticipation. Will you get a message? Will you not? Okay. Right. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Helen.
Hi. So there we go. I think that might have worked. I'm amazed. It never normally does. But there's 4 of us, so that's good.
Okay.
Chrissy, are you able to talk to us? Don't have to go on camera if you don't want to. Ah, hi. How are you doing?
Hello.
I was just checking, because if not, we'll rearrange. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, how about Chrissy and Di? You tell each other a little bit about what you did at your event. How did it go? Why did it go that way? Highs and lows.
Shall I start?
Go then, Di.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we had a one-off have a go on a Saturday between 11 and 4, and it was a case of roll up, shoot 6 arrows, join the back of the queue and shoot 6 more, which we had quite a lot of. We had 125 people came, but I would think everybody had 4 or 5 goes, or most people did. There wasn't an awful lot of queuing. We had 5 targets, so 5 coaches on the line, and they were kept busy relatively for the day. We offered a prize of a free beginner course for, well, everybody who shot 3 arrows into the gold. It was supposed to be the first 3 arrows and hadn't done archery before. Basically, the names were put into a hat and we drew a name out at the end of the day, and that person was I got a free beginner course. I honestly don't know whether they've taken it up yet, but the invitation to do so was there, and it was a very successful day. I think we had 21 club volunteers, by the way, involved, which was the most volunteers we've ever had, I think, at any event.
21, did you say?
Yeah.
That is a lot. Yeah, fantastic.
Yes. Well, yes, but it not everybody was there all day, but it allowed everything to flow through. There was some greeting. There was some greeting and parking cars. There was some then greeting them, registering them, putting braces on. Some others directing to the line, and then when they finished shooting, they were directed to the sign up for a beginner course, get more information, have a chat, or go and join the queue again.
That's brilliant.
It's relatively easy to organise because we've done it for a few times now.
You know, that bit of directing people, helping people through, making them feel welcome, setting them on, settling them if they're feeling on edge, is the bit that quite often is missed out.
Yeah, there were people around to, shuffle people around, keep them back, keep them safe out of the way when they needed to be, and things like that. And
do you reward your volunteers in a particular way that volunteered for that event?
It's interesting actually, because this year, not massively. This year, we didn't actually particularly celebrate 10 years because it's our club's 120th year. What we have done for that is I've got some key rings done, and before the start, all the volunteers got a key ring, which I know isn't very much, but they're one of the few people in the club who have a key ring. When next on Sunday we're having our Jubilee shoot, and everybody who turns up who hasn't got a key ring will also get one. And any other event, the volunteers will get key rings, and then what we've got left we'll sell. It's only a minor thing, but that's, apart from free tea and coffee when they wanted, that's about all they got.
That's that recognition there, isn't it?
Well, I think we have an expectation from our members that, they come and shoot and they do the sharing, helping, and it was great to see 21 of them did.
It's great. And how about you, Chrissy?
Yeah, it was good. We did a closed event at the beginning of the week, which was for friends and family of members, and then a fun shoot for members, which was good fun, and certainly our members enjoyed the fun shoot and have requested another one later in the summer. And then the following weekend we did just an open day. We didn't have a huge number turn up, but those that did have expressed an interest, and well, it's hard to tell whether it's just from that, but from sort of things that we've done this year, because we also went to the Rutland show and did have a go there. We're doing a beginner's course at the moment, and that is full. Well, actually, we've just finished it. We finished it on Sunday, and we've got from the ones that completed it, because unfortunately COVID struck a few, but the ones that completed it, they all want to join, so that's really good.
And I was lucky enough to catch the end of one of those events that Chrissy's club ran, and there was a large group, wasn't there, of adults that were part of a social meetup group.
Yes.
That had all decided to come together.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, what would you say, 15, 17 adults?
Something like that. Yeah. So yeah. So it was a good day.
And you'd done a lot of online promotion of groups, and I think they had seen it through that.
Yeah, I think more and more, we get more and more inquiries through social media now. We did use the press release, and sent that to local papers, and that did get into the local papers. But it's unusual for the papers to write anything if it's not football or rugby or cricket. They don't normally write anything up if I send it. So it was nice that they did do that one.
So what I might do, I might pop into the other room now and leave you in Toby's hands, and just maybe leave you to kind of talk about what would you feed back to the whole group about the key things that make it go well, and what are your thoughts around 2023? Maybe those two things. I'll leave you with Toby. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. See you in a bit. If I can work out how to get out of here. See you later.
Yeah. So yeah, what would you like to sort of perhaps feedback or other clubs could use for next year?
We didn't have them this year, but we had them last year. I like the QR code for people to register. Quite a few people asked, where is the QR code? So I think some people didn't like it because they didn't have, phone coverage at their grounds, but I think the option of the QR code would be good.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
I think you have to plan. I think some people just seem to think just things happen, but they don't. There is a lot of work that needs to go on beforehand, and I think it's making sure you put that in, and then it works much better if you've put that work in before.
Yeah,
but it's a bit of a sort of guess really, because we don't book for that one, whereas for our taster days people do book, so you never know whether you're going to get 10 people, 50 people, or 100 people. So it's all a bit of a guess really.
Yeah. Right. So why do you choose to do that and like not book for Start Archery and you do for tasters?
Well, we never used to book. It was booking started, as a result of COVID. And it was just felt that some people say the fact they have to book things puts them off. So we thought that we would offer that event as a just turn up. Okay. Whereas our taster days, we quite like, they pay £3 and they get basically an hour go, and then a lot of those then want to carry on and do beginners courses and sort of had a good grounding by the time then they start our beginners course.
Yeah. And did you charge for Start Archery?
We did for the one that was open to the public. Yeah. We only charged £3 and they got a decent go for that. And well, a few people said they thought it was very good value, and was that all we were charging? They would have paid more and said we've been other places and paid far more and had less. Yeah. So, and we have some years we have done it for free, and people have then said, well, we want to pay. So we decided we would make a small charge because it's what we normally would do. So we just sort of kept with that really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were happy to have it as a free event actually, but then we're in a position we don't have to pay ground rent. We own our own field, so we don't have any particular necessary overheads for the day. Not really. So we prefer not to charge, and we'd like to. I think we look to for that particular event to roll in the numbers, and then those who want more can actually book a taster session if they want to. I'm not sure whether we've had a few tasters since, which we offer for. We do make a charge for. We will do an hour session, and we actually charge £15 a head for that. And we usually have two or three people, something like that, not usually more. And they're also very successful. But certainly for the Start Archery day that we had, it's very basic instruction on the line. That's all we give, just safe instruction.
And did you sort of book ahead, or was it just turn up on the day?
For us, they just turn up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see how different clubs approach it, and because as I say, I went to a couple of clubs and both were very well organised, but one hadn't booked ahead, but it had been very well promoted in the area. Everybody turned up at once, so then there was huge waiting times, and then they didn't get to shoot for very long, whereas the other club had a huge amount of time per person. It was about 45 minutes per person, but they were all slotted, sort of they had pre-booked times to arrive, and it was just interesting to see how both sort of run.
It depends on your club situation as well. It has to vary depending on your own club. I mean, we were blessed as well with good weather, but then again, that isn't a problem because we have an indoor range. So had it been bad weather, we can shift everything indoors, but we haven't had to, fortunately. We filled, I say, we filled a beginner course. It started a couple of weeks after the event. It not quite finished. We had 12. We take 12 on a course, 12 booked on the main course, and then we ran a junior course as well, and we've got three on that.
Wow.
So we're doing okay with beginners.
That's good. And yourself, Chrissy?
Yeah, we can fill as many beginners courses as we're able to put on, really. There seems to be quite a lot of interest in archery around here. You know, we're not struggling to get people to come to the taster days, and to be fair, we could promote them more, but we get as many as we can really cope with. You know, it's all, you know, you don't want too many because then you don't give them a very good experience. So, you know,
it's
not sort of really pushing the advertising, because
sort
of social media seems to get enough, and word of mouth. A lot of people, you know, hear from somebody they've been doing archery. Oh, where'd you do that? And so, you know, we don't tend to have to advertise too much.
It's quite a common theme at the moment. There's so much archery, or people trying to do archery, but it's trying to get those people into clubs, but then clubs are already at capacity. So it's a difficult position for clubs at the moment.
Yeah, can I just ask quickly, how often do you run beginner courses?
We did 4 last year. We've got 3 booked this year, and we might run another one depending. But we encourage people when they finish our course to hire kit for a few months, and that, you know, we only have a limited amount of hire kit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to run on the basis of for a year. The difficulty we've had this year is there's lots of people wanting to do a course, but when you say, well, you know, this is the course, these are the dates, they'll say, oh, well, I can come that date and I can't come that date, and our organizer is having an awful lot of a terrible time actually getting the people there. They all want to do it, they say, but they. Oh, well, can I do it on such and such a day? No, we don't have coaches available. So we're finding that more of a problem, really.
Well, we did our first course was April or early May, and I thought I'd got sort of the 12 booked on that, and sort of 2 weeks before, and then COVID hit both the club and beginners, and the actual 12 we ended up with, when I think it was only about 2 of the original 12. It all changed, and people that were on the waiting list ended up on that course, and most of that course is now ended up on the course we're doing now.
We've had quite lots of cancellations. Last minute cancellations, unfortunately, but there's nothing you can do about that.
No, but in a way it was good because we got people who were, you know, able to take up those spaces, so which was good. So
it's have you got a dedicated organizer for recruiting your beginners and registering them and everything?
No, that's me.
you do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we have somebody who that is one of their responsibilities. Yes, and it's hard work. spends a lot of time, sends out an awful lot of emails.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you think you've got 100 people on the waiting list, but it's difficult to find 12 who can do the dates you offer.
Well, we do weekend courses, so it's only 2 dates, but yeah, quite often they'll say I can do one of them, but I can't do both of them. We need to do both.
Yeah, we tend to vary. In the winter, we've been doing one evening a week. In the summer, we ran fairly successfully on Saturday mornings, but again, it's getting the commitment from the coaches for their availability as well.
Yeah.
So
we used to do an indoor one before COVID. We've not done an indoor one since COVID, and that used to be 6 evenings. But yeah, we've just been doing outdoor ones since COVID. So
yeah, I think our current one, actually, they're tending to stay indoors, but no particular reason. They could very well be outdoors, but to be honest, I haven't been there since the first session, so I'm not quite sure on a personal point of view. The junior one has been running outdoors.
Do you always do a separate course for juniors, or?
No, it's something we decided to try. On every Saturday morning, we have our juniors session, when the juniors whose parents, well, all the juniors, but particularly aimed at the juniors whose parents don't shoot, so they could bring the kids to archery and leave them and come back and pick them up later. And we do 9 till 12. And one of our coaches decided he'd liked, which is a good idea, if he ran a beginner course for some juniors. It was only intended to be 3 or 4 of them alongside the junior session, then they'll be a little bit more integrated coming once they join the club, because it's just carry on coming on and seeing the people shooting alongside the people that they've been watching. So it's I think they finish next Saturday, so we'll have to wait and see if they all join. I think they all will.
Just finally, sorry, because we're going to be back in a minute. Helen wants to know, what dates do you prefer for Start Archery Week? Do you prefer it in May like it was this year, or there's potential for it to be September?
May's better.
Yeah, May.
Better. Yeah. Okay, great. That's the main.
Yeah. No.
I think it's better in May.
To be honest, from us, we can run beginner courses all through the year. It doesn't matter, but it must impact on those who want to do the outdoor courses, like Chrissy. You know, it's no good doing that in September and expecting to then run an outdoor course. And so many clubs have to hire their indoor venues in the, pay extra for their indoor venues in the winter. It doesn't make sense to do that if you can run them in the summer.
No. Yeah. No, definitely May.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. And will you both be doing it again next year by the sounds of it?
Well, I don't know. I think
is it the first time you've done
somebody
it?
Else's turn. I've done it several times, but
yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, as a club.
As a club, we would do it. Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Almost certainly, yeah. I just need somebody else to pick up the reins and organise it. Then I can have a year off. Is there anything else you need to know, Toby? Any other instructions from Helen what to ask?
No, that was the main thing, really.
Anything you know? Anything you want to know?
Yeah. What sort of just feedback really that other clubs could take away from today?
I have to say, locally to us, there weren't many clubs actually doing this type of event. And I think all the other ones that were taking bookings. I think we were the only one. And, okay, we're Central Lancashire, So we're very easy to access. But there weren't many other clubs in our area at all getting involved, which surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, what's the saying? Sorry.
So it's a case of what can Archery GB do to encourage other clubs to also take up the reins?
Yeah, exactly. It's we don't know why clubs don't, but a lot of clubs will say, like we've alluded to about beginners, we don't need more members. What's the point in running an event when it's not really about that? It's about just promoting archery as a sport and
interestingly, with COVID, we lost nearly half of our members, but we're back up to the numbers we were pre-COVID now, because we've taken on so many new members. Some have come back now, but we're back up to our previous numbers. So
a lot of clubs that I talk to, they are very similar. There's so much interest with archery at the moment that they are pretty much back to, I think, what they were before, if not greater number of members, which is really good. I think just people want to get outside again and doing things.
A few who sort of dropped off are they're gradually creeping back, but time will tell, because our renewal is the 1st of July, so time will tell how many do creep back this year.
But you even, in normal times before COVID, we always found you always lose some members every year, so you need to always keep some way of attracting people back into the club, don't you? Because you always seem to lose some, and it's just trying to keep them sort of beyond about a year. It's quite hard.
Usually if they do 3 years they stay. But we used to lose about 20%, somewhere like that. They fairly low. Oops. See you later.
Oh, good. Have we lost anyone? No, good. Phew. Sorry to cut you off if you're mid-sentence there.
They were talking booking sheets. Forms,
Booking. You're talking about booking sheets.
Booking
I was just
online.
asking Dale what app they use for registering people when they arrived.
It was, as I say, it was all done through our own website using a plugin called Event Manager. And what I did is I set up some custom QR codes that directed people to there, and also some NFC tags. So people just came up with a phone, bink, and then they took them straight to the form, which was just filled in. We got a confirmation email through, so we knew who was coming through in the line.
Yeah, grand. Sorry, I found the plugin on Google. So for WordPress, grand.
Yeah, it's I think it's about £30, and that's a one-off payment, and that's if you want to do the bookings using PayPal to pay in the background. If you just want to use it for free events, it's a free app.
Right.
And on that point, we're going to talk about the club management system in a minute. So just to let you all, Dale, have you had a look at the CMS at all?
Not as of yet. I've been busy changing jobs and everything and trying to sort the club out.
Yeah, of course. No. I just wondered if you had. So, okay. Well, before we move on to that, what were the kind of? I know we don't want to go through all that everyone has just said, but what were the kind of main things that have come out in your chats? The things that worked really well.
Really well, or the negative? Because I can do the negative.
Okay.
I'm going to go with that one first, because that was all of them mentioned it, which was advertising from an AGB perspective. The adverts, social media interaction, that was the main thing that all four mentioned in our little group.
Yeah. Need for more promotion through social media.
Yeah. And also engagement with what these guys are posting. So there was no engagement. So they're doing what we're asking.
Yeah.
But then it's not being retweeted or reshared on Insta or whatever the word is on Insta, because I don't use it. I tweet, so I like retweeting. I tweet. But on Insta, there's a different thing for it, isn't it? You share it, I think, or something. I can't remember. But anyway, or like it or something. Add a story.
And just so you all know, on that front, our comms team have recognised that we've actually got a bit of a lack of capacity there. So they're actually recruiting a new member of staff at the moment that will be focused on more club and group activities. So we're hoping to see that gap plugged very soon. But so thank you for that feedback. It's really helpful to know that job is required, basically. But yeah, that's good feedback.
And then from a positive perspective, excuse me, my voice has just suddenly gone.
Oh, no.
It's not like me at all. Okay, positive side of it was the guys were using various apps to actually collate the data to then copy and paste onto the organizer's return bit. So there was a lot of conversation around those, and the fact that they would like to keep the dates to May because it works with current programs and beginner courses and other bits and pieces.
Yeah. Okay, so we switch to the other group and give Yvonne's voice a rest for a second. Di, Chrissy and Toby, I know I joined you for a bit of your chat as well, but your top tips?
I can't remember what they were. We also would go for May, definitely.
Both of you agree on May?
Yeah, September's too late in the year really for practicalities, I would think, for a lot of clubs.
Yeah, but we just wanted to check that because we got a little bit of feedback that people wanted to change the date. So obviously we want it to work for the majority of people. So that's, thank you. Was there anything else, Toby, that you wanted to feedback from your chats?
Chrissy mentioned just basically the need to definitely organise it well. You kind of sort of wing it. And as such, make sure people know that when they're getting into it, they can't just wing it on the day and hope for the best, because it won't go to plan. And also return of potential QR codes for next year.
No, thank you. No, they were a nightmare.
Divides opinion, that one.
Yeah. I know some people didn't like them. They worked well for us the year before, but I know some clubs hated them. But could we not have the option?
That came up a lot in our group, actually, that they were quite useful and they work quite well. So maybe having the option would work. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Unless there was anything else that people were planning to say, we've been in your chat, so we've heard all of the detail that you're saying between us. So thank you for that. The point of running tonight was we want as much feedback as possible. So please do tell us if there's something else you want to say. But we'll move on to just highlight the club management system that I just mentioned, because this is a new initiative that's just been added this summer. So I'll share. So it's a recently new element for if you are a club, for the people that's already got access to the club record to be able to use this. So apologies to John. But it provides the club with a digital toolkit for online engagement with your members, and also for you to be able to promote your activities. And the aim is to reduce any repetitive admin. So it boosts your online presence because it effectively creates a free website for you, which you can build into your current websites if you've already got one. But if you don't have one, then it gives you a free one, which we hope will be helpful. And a chance for you to have your have a go opportunities, taster sessions, or any other activities available there for people to book. You can ask the system to take a booking fee, or you can just have them book a free place and sort out the money later if you want to do it the way you've always done it. That's up to you. If you do use it to take a fee, then obviously there's a card handling fee, a small percentage, as there is on most card payment schemes, but that is just purely to use the card. So ArcheryGB aren't using this to gain any kind of revenues from this. This is just to try and help you run your bookings. It links with OpenActive, which is the national kind of database, if you like, for activities that promote anyone putting information into the Open Active database. It gets shared on all those multiple channels because there's no personal information, and it means we're hoping that booking an archery session will become as easy as booking like a hotel room or booking a flight, which you can do, you know, on your laptop, but it's hard to book an activity session sometimes, and particularly in archery. So we're trying to make it as easy. So if you already have access to your club portal, if you're an Archery GB club, then you can have a look. You just log into your club profile, click on where it says AGB CMS, which just stands for Club Management System. It's on the left-hand side on the kind of drop-down menu. If you're on a laptop, that is, I think it'll probably change where it is if you're on a phone. But click on the link and follow the steps. Have a little look in there. It's all live, so it's not in a test state at the moment. It is live, but you can start using it as and when you wish. If you've got queries or questions, you can contact us, and there are little tutorial videos to help you navigate your way around it as well.
Helen, I've just tried to do it and I'm getting error 403. This web app has stopped.
Right. Okay.
Just FYI.
Okay.
I can try it later. They might be fixing something.
Maybe we should connect over that then, Damien. Yeah, I'll have a little look and check everything should be working. But there must be something. It is brand new, so this is why we want people to slowly start using it, and we'll iron out any tweaks along the way.
Yeah.
Great. So if you were looking at, you know, running bookings through this, and so for example, you could play with it this summer, you could maybe run a beginner's course through it or something that you're running this summer, and maybe the idea is to, you know, have it fully functional for next summer or next spring. So any questions from tonight or on anything that anyone else has mentioned that you want to find out more about? You thought, oh, that was a good idea. There's a couple of good ideas I wrote down earlier. I mean, I loved Di's club, Bowman of Pendleton Salisbury. Everyone that got, was it 3 goals? Their names were put in a hat, and then they put out a name and they won a free beginners course place. Love that idea.
We did that last year as well. Yeah.
And to thank volunteers, you gave out key rings as well, which was a lovely touch because it was your club's anniversary year as well. So they had key rings made to commemorate that. So that was a lovely touch. You know, lots of little things that people did that were really helpful. You can ask each other about those if you wish. I'm going to stop the recording now as well.